Functional resumes are what we just have the functions of the jobs that we've done. So Craig, why don't you talk to me about what and who should use a functional resume?
Well, generally speaking, hiring managers do not like functional resumes. If they truly functional resumes, uh, our comfort zone is seeing where somebody was and when they were there and tying the skills into that particular job. Uh, Perhaps the best example I can think of for somebody that would want a functional resume is an IT consultant, somebody who does technical work and they work on contract. They work 3 months, 6 months, 9 months at a time. They're always moving around, and it gets to where they've been everywhere, and you just can't list that. So list the key functions and your key skills. Make that um, the focus of the resume. You might just say, okay, I worked at um, Intel, I worked at General Electric, I worked at, and just say these are some key clients, but otherwise, um, just you list your skills and you can get away without dates and a chronology.
Okay. Christy mentioned earlier that she did both a chronological and a functional resume for one of her clients. Christy, let's talk about this functional resume.
Okay, so this in this case we changed Jane Doe, but it is the same as Mary Doe that we saw earlier, where she was the recruiter and we presented it chronologically. She also had previous experience early in her career as a social worker, and she wanted a resume that she could use to apply for those types of jobs. That was before her recruiting experience. So on the other resume, it was at the bottom of page 2, and no one would look at that resume and think, oh, here's a social worker. So in this case, we did create a functional resume where we drew out her case management skills and her transition and discharge planning skills from her various jobs. And a lot of them were from her very early positions, but she did have case management when she was the life coach and, things like that. And case management even as a recruiter, you're managing a caseload of openings and candidates and things like that. So we described her relevant experience, again, through trying to focus on accomplishments and skills in her experience. And then below, we still did, a purely functional resume might not even include the chronology below, but we know employers prefer to see where you did these things at, so we did include that chronological history. Again, we called it history, not professional history or not work experience, because some of this was volunteer experience. Down below, and then up again in this case, the final bullet was more that area of expertise, because we wanted to get some more of those keywords in her resume, because the first search generally your resume is going to go through is a computer search. So you want to make sure that those keywords are in there, either embedded within the experience section, which is what I try to do, but sometimes this works to draw attention to those skills. In this case, even though her education, we actually left the dates on this, and I'm kind of surprised. I generally would remove the dates, so that was an oversight on our part, but we moved the education because she did have a master's in social work up to the top, where normally you would find that at the bottom. So you can see these are two very different resumes customized for two very different positions. And I just want people to really think about, is the resume you're creating helping you to paint the picture for the employer that you have the skills to do the job?
Good. Craig, talk about Carol for us.
I need to bring the view up a little larger here. Let me flip to my other. There we go. Thank you for bearing with me here. The what I like about this is that it's mostly a functional resume with just a wee bit of chronology in there. So you're talking about the key um, I'm sorry, there are dates that of 3 most recent positions. And that's a good summary because this person is a technical engineer, and their skills and experience are the most important, but just fill it out and give that hiring manager the comfort of giving the chronology also. So that's why I like, if you're going to use a functional resume, if at all possible, make it a combination.
So could this actually be classified as a combination resume?
I think so. I mean,
Okay.
in my book, a truly functional resume doesn't have any chronology in there.
Okay. We have a question from the audience. For someone who has 20 to 30 years with one employer, should they use a chronological or a functional resume?
The first question, oh, go ahead.
No, that's fine.
Okay,
I was waiting for somebody else.
Yeah, the first question to me that I would want to ask the person is, what is your objective? Is it related to the things you've done for those 20 or 30 years? And if that was the case, I would probably do a chronological, and you want to show, the progression through the company and your accomplishments related to those, 20 or 30 years, but focus on the most recent. But, maybe they're wanting to highlight skills they used earlier in their career or something. I wouldn't go to a purely functional resume. I would probably do a combination resume, which is actually what we're going to show next. If they're trying to really showcase different skills they developed throughout their career. That's my take.
Good.
And I can't say I recommend this, but I've seen somebody that, let's say they were 30 plus years at one company, but their most recent job was 12 years as a manufacturing manager, and that's all they listed.
I've done that
12-year under position title manufacturing manager, and just ran with it that way.
Mhm.